Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Twisted Metal Black as Yellow Jacket Part 2. So now we've cleared the second level. We're now going to the Black Vista Highway, the big major freeway, where it's just like the freeway level from the original Twisted Metal, and a bit like Road Rage Twisted Metal 4. Where we have to go on this large open freeway. It's probably an interstate highway or something like that, interstate freeway. We have to drive through here and pretty much just to completely eradicate our enemy, which is what we've been doing in every single level ever since the very first game of this entire series. So I'm not surprised. See, we're getting targeted by a new weapon. They actually did introduce some new weapons in this game too. This reticle weapon or whatever it's called, or it can actually lock on. It doesn't work a lot of the time, but it does allow you to lock on to enemies and shoot a bunch of small, really powerful missiles at the enemies, destroying them pretty much. And the model of the car actually changes when it is to indicate which weapon you currently have equipped, which is another nice detail to add to this game. They also have this weapon called a satellite weapon, like a satellite missile, where it actually sends a satellite into the air, then it locks on and then it shoots down. It's a little bit like the Autolob weapon from Twisted Metal 4. It's also a little bit like General Warthog's special weapon from Twisted Metal 4. So those are some more Twisted Metal 4 references I've been finding in this game. Health packs or health things regenerate pretty quickly, so that's good too. And there's also those things they had in the first Twisted Metal where you could drive on them and refills your health, those health recharge pads, whatever you call them. Those are bad. Those are back in this game too, so that's good. And I don't think the computer AI is capable of using those things, so for the most part they can't get full health refills. They can, however, go and get a smaller health refills, a small health pack, so they don't give a lot of health, and they rarely ever run into it, about as much as they did in Twisted Metal 2. So damage due to enemies in this game is not exactly permanent. It's not like in Twisted Metal. It's definitely not like in Twisted Metal 3 where they're always hungry for them, and they always run after them every 2 seconds. In Twisted Metal 3, there's no such thing as being almost dead. It's either you're dead or alive, which is why in Twisted Metal 3 you really have to find your enemies and pummel them as much as you can until they're dead, so that way they can't be a threat to you anymore. But you don't have to worry about that as much in this game. That's not really a problem as much in this game. Or that's more of what they did in this game to make it more reminiscent of the first 2 Twisted Metals, because those were never really problems much in the first 2 Twisted Metals. We're going to get the SAT weapon a lot, the satellite weapon. You can tell it's equipped because it has the ridicule in front of us, the crosshair, whatever you call it. And of course some of the familiar weapons are back in this game too, like the power missiles that's been in every game since the first one, the fire missiles, homing missiles, they work all the same as they were, so it's good they kept some familiar stuff from this game. Whatever interesting about this game, this is also the first time since the original Twisted Metal where you have a Twisted Metal game with an event-sensitive soundtrack. The music in this game actually changes according to how stuff goes on in the game. Sometimes it plays like like there's no enemies around, it's going to play very ominous, eerie kind of music, but then when enemies show up, the music gets all your action, like the kind of action music you'd expect from a game kind of thing. That's pretty cool, they do that too. I'm not really a fan of the soundtrack of this game. I think it would have been better if they put some Rob Zombie stuff in this game. Rob Zombie would fit this game perfectly. Rob Zombie fits Twisted Metal better than anything else. But of course, they kind of want... This game is made by people who kind of want to distance themselves from Twisted Metal 3 and 4, and Rob Zombie is primarily in Twisted Metal 3 and 4. It's funny how people associate Rob Zombie of Twisted Metal, saying he's like the best thing in Twisted Metal music-wise, and yet he's only ever in Twisted Metal 3 and 4, which are the 2 games they want everyone to forget about. I still think this game would have been better if it had the kind of music from Twisted Metal 1 or Twisted Metal 2. Twisted Metal 2 has the best soundtrack in my opinion. I really love the music used in that game. They also used a lot of music in that game that was also in Jet Moto. Twisted Metal recovered from 989 afterwards, but unfortunately Jet Moto never did. There weren't any Jet Moto games after 989 tampered of Jet Moto. And they really messed up Jet Moto big time at Jet Moto 3, making the game feel like a real downgrade, I guess you could say. I mean, sure, Twisted Metal, they just didn't understand the lore of Twisted Metal. With Jet Moto, there is no real lore behind Jet Moto, I don't think, because Jet Moto is not really a story-driven series that much, but Twisted Metal is. Well, at least they picked the right series to stick with, because Twisted Metal, most people would say Twisted Metal is a much more popular and more entertaining series than Jet Moto. And some people consider Jet Moto to be like a precursor, like what Twisted Metal is, or saying that, which I disagree, because it's not a real racing game or anything of that sort. So we just destroyed Junkyard Dog. We picked us some health. They have those helicopters that fly around and they could give us health refills. They seem to be getting the satellite missile a lot in this game too. It's one of the better weapons this game overall. But I think the best new weapon they introduced in this game would have to be the zoomy missile, where it shoots a bunch of zooming missiles at your enemies. They can like really even get scored based on like something out of 10. Like out of the 10 missiles fired, how many of them hit, which doesn't really do anything really. So I don't think there is any score in this game. No Twisted Metal game I've ever played before has a score. Even if it did have a score, what would it do? Like you get a certain amount of points, you get a new life or something like that. What would score in a Twisted Metal game do? I mean, sometimes games that have scores actually do serve a purpose, but sometimes it's completely useless. Like in the original Mega Man, scoring was completely useless in the original Mega Man. It served no real purpose at all. A lot of the contestants in this game actually stole weapons from special weapons from other contestants. Like Crazy 8, the guy that's killed, he stole the special weapon from Outlaw in the original Twisted Metal series. He's the taser, the police taser. And now I completed the first 3 levels. It's time to fight the boss. That's right, we're going after a boss. This game doesn't have a lot of bosses. Twisted Metal 4 is a very bossy game, making you fight a boss at the end of each level. And Twisted Metal 1 only had 1 boss the entire game. This game takes it back to Twisted Metal 2 standards, where it's only 2 bosses. And guess who we're going against? It's Minion, the familiar Minion. Only this time Minion isn't that familiar in this game because he's very different in this game. He's some sort of tanker truck from the looks of it, like a giant tanker truck that has a turret on top of it. It's not really much of a tank like what he was in before, but then again, the classic Twisted Metal series never really made much sense why Minion was a tank. But then again, they never really, considering the fact he was a demon from hell, but I don't think they really wrote that about Minion when they made the first Twisted Metal. I bet if they knew he was a demon from hell, they may have gave him some other type of thing he could have been driving, but we don't even really know who Minion is in this game. It's kind of, Minion remains a mystery. And you can actually unlock Minion in this game if you beat the game with every single contestant. I've beat the game with most contestants as of this recording, but I still have some ways to go. I mostly beat this game with Yellow Jacket a lot because he's my favorite. Who else would I be beating the game with? Yellow Jacket's a beast in this game. Most of the unlockable contestants in this game, because Yellow Jacket is an unlockable contestant. He's not available right from the beginning. Most of the unlockable contestants in this game, they're real beasts, a lot of them, especially Yellow Jacket. You can also unlock Axel and Warthog, and this new contestant called Manslaughter can be unlocked, but most of the unlockable contestants in this game, the storylines are kind of lacking. Yellow Jacket's story isn't, though. It's actually a really good story about a boy trying to get his father back, a boy that was robbed of his father, and now he's trying to get him back. He's going to do anything he can to get his father back. That's actually really cool, actually. It's a really nice story, actually. He's trying to do that. But most of the other characters don't have those unlockable contestants don't really have very good stories. Axel's story is very cliche. It's just simply, someone killed his wife, and he wants to find out who killed his wife and get revenge on them. That's his story. He doesn't even have an intro movie because they're that lazy when they made Axel. Just really a big insult, because Axel was a really story-heavy character, interesting character in Twisted Metal 2 when he first debuted, and Axel's been in every Twisted Metal game since Twisted Metal 2, and yet this game doesn't really do much justice, and his father never abused him in this game, I don't think. He was never trapped in an Axel contraption thing, whatever you call it, so it doesn't really make much sense why he would even drive something like that if that's not what he is. Axel doesn't really make any sense in this game. And then there's Warthog, very different from Warthog in the other games. He's actually not an army man in this game. Instead, he's just some serial killer who wants to compete with Sweet Tooth of being an even worse serial killer than Sweet Tooth. Which is just simply someone competing with Sweet Tooth, so that's not really much of a story either. And so, there, we destroyed Minion, we destroyed the Minion boss, and now we're going on a boat. This level's kind of weird. We're on a ship that's heading to the asylum, and different parts of the level open up as time goes on. It's almost like in those Mario games sometimes where it's like scrolling. You can only access part of the level at a time, something like that, and then as you play through games, it's like a scrolling. It's like how they do a scroll in those scrolling levels in Mario games. It's like how they do something like that, but in a Twisted Metal game. You can only access part of the level at a time. Like how in those Mario games, you can only access part of the screen at a time, and you have to wait for the screen to this level to progress to the end of the level. That's the game plays on, kind of like what this level is. Right now, we're stuck in here with absolutely nowhere to go but to fight these two contestants that have been placed right in front of us. The good thing is we actually got lucky this time around. The contestants that it gave us are actually some of the easiest to beat, actually. And one that's actually one of the weakest contestants in the game that can easily be destroyed. Easy, there. I wonder how hard these taxi cabs are in real life. I mean, sure, taxi cabs must go for a lot, which is probably why they're very durable. And they're very fast, too, so that they can probably pick up people and take them to their destination when they're in a hurry or something like that. Taxi cabs actually do make a lot of sense in that sense. And that's probably why Yellow Jacket's one of the best contestants in Twisted Metal. I've said so many times before, he is my favorite contestant. And so these health things are filled quite quickly, actually, so this is actually a good place to hang out if you need some health refills. The Axel is stalking us from behind. We can destroy Axel. Axel actually is pretty good in this game, despite the fact his story sucks. He actually still is pretty good. He's really strong. He has the same old special weapon he's always had, which does work really well against other contestants. So actually he's a good contestant. Mostly unlockable contestants, so the higher end contestants. But the easiest contestant to win this game would probably be Sweet Tooth. He's obviously the title character of the game because, well, he appears on the title screen of the game. He's on the front cover of the game. We know Sweet Tooth is the most popular character in Twisted Metal. This is also the first time since the original Twisted Metal where Sweet Tooth is not an unlockable character. He's actually unlocked right from the beginning of the game. You just play as him right from the beginning of the game. You can play as Sweet Tooth, which is, some people say it's good they did that. A lot of people find it confusing why Sweet Tooth is unlockable in Twisted Metal 2, 3, and 4 in the numbered Twisted Metal games. This game takes it back to how it was in the original Twisted Metal. Another kind of odd referencing to the original Twisted Metal, I guess you could say that. And also this game, everything in this game is in common with the original Twisted Metal, so this game doesn't seem to be set all over the world like Twisted Metals 2 and 3 were. Instead, it seems to be only set in like one city or one town, just like the original Twisted Metal, how it was set in LA. I don't think this contest is set on Christmas Eve, though, like it was in the original game. Twisted Metal set on Christmas Eve. That's why I consider it to be my favorite game series that's set on Christmas Eve. You also get machine gun upgrades in this game too, which they actually act a lot like the speed missiles which were first introduced in Twisted Metal 3. They work more in this game as they did in Twisted Metal 4. More references to Twisted Metal 4, I see. Manslaughter is actually one of the easiest contestants to take out, mostly because he's really big. Sure, he's strong, but he's really big, which makes him stick out like a sore thumb. He actually seems to be kind of weak against my machine gun. He gets machine gunning down easy. I still have yet to beat this game with the hardest contestant to beat the game with. I don't even know who it is. In the original Twisted Metal, the hardest contestant to beat the game with is Crimson Fury. In Twisted Metal 2, it's Grasshopper. In Twisted Metal 3, I think it's probably Mr. No, it's not. It's Spectre. Spectre is the hardest contestant to beat Twisted Metal 3 with. In Twisted Metal 4, it's probably Microblast in Twisted Metal 4, and this one I don't know yet. So, yeah, I wonder if I should do LPs eventually of Twisted Metal games as the hardest contestant to win with. Nah, I don't think I'll ever really do that. I only plan on doing a few LPs of Twisted Metal, then it might get boring if I keep doing more and more Twisted Metal. That's why you can see the guy run out of the car when you get destroyed. It's the guy running around on fire. I wonder if that'd be my father. I hear the character's father. See how the character's father, the father of this that's supposed to be driving the car. He's the only one that looks like an adult that would be driving the car. It's like he got burned so badly that he actually got up and run away because he doesn't like getting burned. He's dead and it made him get up and get burned. Or maybe the kids somehow managed making the father dead so he could preserve his dead body as he's getting burned up. He doesn't want his father to get cremated, obviously. He wants his father to come back. Then again, it's Twisted Metal. The wish could be absolutely anything the victor could possibly desire. And Calypso's backstory isn't even really revealed much in this game. You don't really know why how Calypso became what he is in this game. This is a different version of Calypso, obviously, and it's unknown where he got his power from, or how he's able to even use his powers at all. This is Ray Phoenix, signing out.